Hey there, ecologists. I'm down here at Salmon Hole in the Winooski River in Burlington, and I am going to be showing you how to find some crayfish. So I'm just on this little gravel bar right along the edge of most of the shoreline. See behind me, it's like pretty sandy, and there are some crayfish that are going to burrow into the sides, but not really. So you're going to have most of the luck finding crayfish by just flipping over rocks. I'm at a pretty wide section of the river here, but smaller streams are great for this. Anywhere where there's rock cover is going to be perfect habitat for crayfish. So the way that I am going to search is I'm going to slowly flip over rocks. You'll see as I'm flipping over a rock, it'll kick up some mud, and so I want to just slowly flip over the rock, so once I flip it over, I don't spook the crayfish out, but also I don't cover it with a whole bunch of mud. So that's going to be important. And then the other thing that you're going to want to do is work upstream, because if you're kicking up a bunch of mud, then if you're working downstream, you're just going to work in muddy conditions. So it'll be a lot easier to see if you work upstream. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and flip over some rocks. Depending on where you are, it could be every 4 or 5 if you're in a really great habitat for crayfish. Every 4 or 5 rocks you'll find one. Some of the bigger rocks you'll find 3 or 4 crayfish that are in the same place, and then in some places like 1 out of 20 rocks. So flip over a whole bunch of rocks and see what you find. All right, so I'm gonna show you my technique for finding crayfish. All right, there we go. Go in here, and so what we want to do is kind of sneak up behind it and then press down against its back. All right, here we go. So yeah, we've got our little crayfish here. It's a male. It's got these long gonopods right in the center there. Males also have narrower tails. So I'll let it pinch me so I can show you. Doesn't hurt all that much. Sometimes they can't even really get a good grip on you. So there we go. Yeah, and then we'll let it flip itself over, and then we'll take a look at it for identification. So there we go. All right, so there are 6 features that you want to use when identifying these. The first is looking at the color. So it's got this black band that comes down the back here. The second would be the areola, which is the gap between the 2 parts of the carapace, and this one has a little bit wider of areola on it. Another feature you want to look at is the rostrum, so that's like the beak of this. Oh, wrong way. And on some, the big water crayfish, it just has, it doesn't have any accessory little spines along the edge of it, and this one does. I'll show you a different image that's a little bit more detailed. So looking at features on that, also looking at the chelae or the claws, so looking at the size of those is another feature, and then the dactyl, which is the thumb. And on our 3 most common, the virile rusty and what this is, which is the clear water, they have sort of an S-shaped dactyl to it. Yeah, this one is a clear water, which has the wider areola, the S-shaped dactyls, and the dark band in the back. The other feature for something like a rusty is on the sides of them. They have a red patch on the side of their carapace, and then for something like the viriles, they have blue chelae or claws. So yeah, so those are some of the features. Also, looking at the center right there, you can see those long structures right above where my thumb is. Those are gonopods, which the male has. And then on the 3rd legs going from the back forward, so hard to point this out right here. Oh, get your claw out of the way. But on those 3rd set of legs, they have little hooks near the base of it, indicating that this is a breeding male. So it's a male, but it's also a breeding male. So there we go. That's your basics for catching and identifying your crayfish. All right, so we got our 2 little clear water crayfish in here hanging out. and pretty successful. I flipped over about 40 or so rocks before getting these two. My suggestion is, you know, stay persistent, diligent, don't give up after flipping over a few if you're not finding any. Experiment also with trying big rocks, small rocks, and then compare, you know, your success rates looking under different size ones. I also this is looking upstream, and there was kind of a fast flow right there, and then I started flipping over rocks right behind me in that little eddy current, and I had a little bit more luck. It's just kind of where nutrients start swirling around in those little eddy currents, and yeah, so you get different species sometimes in those eddy currents, but tend to get more crayfish there. All right, so there you have it. All right, see you next time. Bye.